The real Garry Linton, hero interview, take one. Hold on a second.
My name is Garry Linton. Some of you may know me as Takeflight on Instagram. From Takeflight Basketball. Basketball trainer, been in the game for so many years. I don't want to date myself, but over 15 years. Basketball training has been something that's really passionate to me. I really like being able to engage with the kids and help them get through their journey any way that I can. Specifically, I do skill enhancement, which is kind of different from the game enhancement side, but that's the basics of what I do. Although I like to say that, or I like to think I'm a bit more than that. So when I first started out, initially I was not going to do any types of coaching for my kids. I just didn't want to be a part of it. I just wanted to be a fan from that side. But what I realized was that as they started their journey and they had their different coaches, I felt like I was kind of holding them back and holding other kids back because the information that they were getting wasn't really, I don't want to say it wasn't good information, but it was outdated, and there was a lot of things that they were learning that was kind of misleading. So that kind of brought me to the coaching aspect of it. But as I was doing that, I would take my kids out to high school games and things like that. And what would happen is, or what I noticed was, there was a there was a lack of skill, for lack of better terms. A lot of the tall kids didn't know how to handle the ball. A lot of the short kids only knew how to handle the ball. So I felt like there was a big gap in what the kids should be doing versus what they were learning. And I think one of the biggest problems that we were having in not only our area, but in youth basketball in itself was, as you get into these early stages of being introduced to the game, the tall kids get pigeonholed into a position. The small kids get pigeonholed into a position. So I wanted to be kind of like a fix for that. I wanted to make an impact in that area where not all of the kids had to be pigeonholed, but they also had the skills that would take them and let them get to the next level. So being the parent of an athlete, as many of you may know, it's a very tough avenue to travel. One of the things that I found is that as I was trying to coach my kids, I had high expectations for what I want from them or what I wanted them to do. So a lot of times what happens is we would clash, we would butt heads on that. And ultimately, as we started to get older, or as my career started to build in that coaching, it really became a point that I needed to get away from. Specifically with my kids, I wanted our relationship back. That was a big thing that was really impacted by me coaching them. And being the parent of an athlete, it's like you have all of these things that you're used to, all of the athleticism that you're used to, all of the skills that you're used to, and it just became a lot because I put those expectations on them, and it wasn't fair to them. So fortunately for me, early, I was able to come to a realization that we've got to make changes because this isn't going to work. It's going to affect my relationship with my kids. When I first started training, I had really big expectations for myself. And I would say the coaching avenue kind of brought me to that. So even as I was coaching, I was never really a coach. I just loved the skill part of it. And at the time, I didn't really understand that there was a difference. I thought everybody was doing the same thing that I was doing, but I was wrong. Now, as I was getting into the first year of training, I was doing all of this skill stuff within my coaching, within my team practices. So we never really ran plays or anything like that. We were just doing ball handling, doing footwork, all of those things in the actual, in the practices. And then finally I realized what I was doing was more alongside of the training side, and I fell in love with it. It wasn't the easiest route, even though I had big expectations. I think one of the hardest things that I had to go through was I knew what needed to be done in order to get kids to school, but I didn't have a resume to show that, you know? And the last thing that people wanted to do was come by me or put their kid's journey in my hands when I didn't have a resume to show it. So I remember one of the first things that I did was I just took all of the kids that I had come across as far as basketball in terms of teams and things like that. I sent an email to, I remember vividly, I sent an email to 50 kids. And I said, in that email, I said, hey, I want you guys to come to this training for free, but I want you to bring 5 of your teammates. I sent that to 50 people, 0 responded. With that, that was kind of like, emotionally, it took a lot out of me, out of my confidence, but it was one of those things that I continued to stick with, and I just wanted to do it. Ultimately, there was one person that gave me a chance. I remember coming down here to Toms River, and a young lady by the name of Annie Mako gave me my first shot. Her mother was kind enough to allow me to work with her, and she put her journey in my hands, and from there it was just all up. She introduced me to some of her friends introduced me to some of their friends, their teammates, et cetera, and from that point on, it's just been a building journey, and from there, my resume has grown.
And you scored a goal? That's tough. Come on, Kay, stay with it. Good. 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 Hey, give me 2 more. One more. Good. Hey, so now as you go through that, I want you to do the same thing, but now we're gonna go foot switch, all right? So when you grab it, just make sure that you don't go into that skip into a speed stop, just get right to your speed stop. All right, got it? Got it? All right, let's do it.
So, as I mentioned, being the parent of my kids, of kids that went through that athletic part of their life, only one of my 3 kids decided to stick with basketball. Go figure. Me being the basketball trainer, one decided that they wanted to play basketball. And to be honest, I love all my kids equally. There's nothing that separates them as far as that. There is a different bond that comes with basketball. All of my kids, we love watching basketball. We're big fans of basketball. But it was my daughter that actually took basketball and took it to another level. Fortunately, we've been on that journey to get to or reach her college dreams, which was a Division I school, and I'm proud to say that we've actually been able to do that. She's now a junior at Kent State University in Ohio, and that whole journey has taught me so much. It's given me a lot of experience that I've been able to now turn around and give to so many other kids. So not only am I able to train the kids and give them what they need from a skill perspective, but I can give them insight on the journey from a parent perspective. And I think that's one of the things that separates me as a trainer. I'm able to speak to you as a trainer, but first and foremost, I'm able to speak to you as a parent that's been through it, a parent that's been through the struggle, a parent that's had to go on the college recruitment journey, a parent that's had money grabs thrown at them, and it's just one of those things that have taught me a lot, and I now want to take that and package it and give it to as many kids as I can impact. So for me, the biggest difference between a coach and a trainer is the coach is looking to impact the game for their team, right? So a lot of times there's a coach that, unfortunately, in this youth basketball system, they want to see you do well. Please don't take that wrong. But at the end of the day, they have a job to do, and their job is to win games. As a trainer, my job is to see that, one, you get the skills that you need, but your journey, you can see that all the way through. I want to give you my individual attention as well as the other kids that are in the program, but I want to make sure that you have all of the tools that you need to succeed. And in my case, I'm looking to help you succeed in any system, not your high school coaches system, not your AAU coaches system, not your future college coach system. I want you to be able to have the tools to succeed in all of the systems, no matter what position you're put in. And I think that's the biggest difference between the trainer and the coach. The coach is solely focused on that team and that team specifically, whereas trainers, they're not interested in your win success, your loss success. They're only interested in seeing that you are equipped with the tools that you need to succeed.
Time as you're putting the cone down, right? So what do we need to do? We need to change the timing so the cone down goes down first. Now I'm ready to receive that ball, okay? All of those things are gonna be crucial for you to get that shot off. But you stopping at the same time, now I can't. Your feet are already set before you're ready, before you even have that ball, okay? Way to recover though, and then get that shot. So that's good, I like that.
Training and having a trainer it's a really big commitment. It's a really big financial commitment. With that, I want to be able to give you everything that you need right? I want to be able to package my experience and be able to give that to you so that you have an understanding of what you need to do. I want to be able to give you my failures so that you have an understanding of what you shouldn't do. Those are the experiences that, as a parent, fortunately, I've been able to use those to help kids navigate their path. And I think one of the biggest, I want to say one of the biggest differences between many of the trainers that we have out here is, and I won't even say out here, many of the differences that we have between basketball trainers in general is that it becomes a very, very protective and almost very, very treating kids like property. And I think that's where, as a trainer, I've been able to do differently. As a parent, I take that into consideration, and I want parents to experience other trainers. I want parents to hear the voices of other trainers. One of my mentors, Micah Lancaster, told me, he said one time that, would you ever read a book by one author and only that author? And I treat training the same way. I don't want you to just hear what I'm saying, although I do believe that what I'm saying is very legit. I'm confident in what the information that I'm giving you. I want you to hear other people's side of it. Even if I give you advice and say, hey, you know, this right here is a money grab, I don't want to turn you away from that. I don't want to turn you off from doing that, because then I want you to go experience it and then come back to me and say, hey, you know what? You were right. I just want people to understand what my perspective is, what I did as a parent, and give them that, and then what they do with that information is up to them. I don't ever want to pressure a parent into feeling like they have to be with me. I'm glad to be with you. I'm confident that my skill work works. I'm confident that it'll get to where you need it to be, but I'm not ever going to pressure you to just solely listen to what I'm telling you to do. So fortunately, myself, I was able to meet a gentleman by the name of Zach Leach many years ago. In 2020, just as the pandemic was coming to an end, or I should say in the middle of a pandemic, we had kind of talked about some ideas, and he was in the process of getting this beautiful place started up called Hoop Lab. At the time, he asked me if I wanted to be one of the trainers that came along with the journey, and I graciously accepted. And I don't think that was, I think that was one of the best decisions that I could have made, because it really, really changed the impact of basketball in this area. For me, and the Takeflight brand being a part of what Hoop Lab has built has been a really, really big success. Going from a very, very small 2,000 square foot place to almost a 6,000 square foot facility, where we're able to now take these kids and put them in training positions or training situations, train different classes, semi-private groups, and also have a beautiful shooting lab where they can come and just get reps up. So that journey from 2020 to now of 2023, it only gets bigger. And we've been able to change the game in so many ways. One of those ways is, creating a podcast, Dish and Dimes, that was really changed a lot of perspective for parents. It changed how things were going or how their thought process was going. It really opened the doors for many others to start podcasts in the same area, and trainers to follow suit. It was very successful. It is very successful. Many people tune in. But the journey is not done. There's so many different things that together we want to do, and it's just a matter of how can we impact the game and get these kids to where they need to be. So all in all, I couldn't be more happier of where we've come today, and the future will tell where we go tomorrow.
Lastly but not least, 5 years from now, where do you see yourself?
5 years from now. Man, that's always a loaded question, right? So I want to be able to, I always say this, like training for me is bigger than just being in the gym with this kid or that kid. Training for me is being a mentor to the kids, making an impact in their lives. So when I talk about 5 years from now, I still want to be, whether they train or not with me at that time, I still want to be connected to them. I still want to be that much of an impact that now I'm more of family to them than anything else. I want to be able to be invited to their weddings. I want to be invited to their baby showers. There's just so many things that are much bigger than basketball. And fortunately, this has given me that opportunity to do so. And 5 years from now, I look forward to, making this bigger than it is now and making a bigger impact than we have already. My name is Garry Linton, and I've accepted the challenge.